You can hate me. But you're mine now, Korean Mafia boss growled to his arranged black wife. The heavy wooden door slammed shut behind her, locking with a final click that echoed like a gunshot. Aaliyah's heart hammered against her ribs as she spun around, fists clenched. What the hell did you just say to me? The tall Korean man standing barely 3 feet away didn't flinch. His dark eyes burned into hers, jaw tight, voice low and dangerous. You heard me, Aaliyah. You can hate me all you want, but you're mine now. She laughed bitterly, the sound sharp in the dimly lit penthouse suite overlooking Chicago's glittering skyline. Yours? I don't belong to anybody, especially not some stranger who just dragged me into a marriage I never agreed to. His lips curved into a cold smile that didn't reach his eyes. You signed the papers. Your father's debts are paid. The deal is done. Before she could fire back, he stepped closer, towering over her 5'7" frame. The scent of his cologne, something expensive and woodsy, hit her, mixing with the adrenaline already flooding her veins. Stay away from me, she warned, voice steady even as her hands trembled at her sides. She was 28, a struggling event planner who had spent the last year fighting to keep her mother's small catering business afloat after her father's gambling nearly destroyed them. She wasn't weak. She'd clawed her way through worse. He didn't back off. My name is Kang Min-ho. And from this moment, you are Mrs. Kang. Try to run, and I'll find you before you reach the elevator. Aaliyah's breath caught. This wasn't a nightmare. This was real. The man her father had secretly promised her to in exchange for wiping out a $500,000 debt to the Shadow Syndicate, one of the most ruthless Korean crime families operating on American soil. She'd only learned the truth 30 minutes ago when 2 silent men in black suits had shown up at her apartment, handed her address, and driven her straight here. Wait, what just happened? She whispered more to herself than to him. Min-ho's gaze never wavered. You became my wife. And I protect what's mine. If you're already hooked and feeling that rush of, who is this man and what has she been pulled into, do me a favor right now, hit that subscribe button, smash the like if your heart is racing, and drop in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Let me know if you're in Chicago like Aaliyah or somewhere across the ocean. I read every single one. Now let's dive deeper. Aaliyah shoved past him, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor as she headed for the massive windows. She needed air, space, anything but his overwhelming presence. My father had no right. I'm not some pawn in your criminal games. Min-ho followed, slow and deliberate. Your father owed my family more than money. He owed blood. I chose mercy. I chose you. Mercy? She whirled, eyes flashing. You call forcing me into marriage mercy? I had a life. Clients. Bills I was actually paying on my own terms. He stopped just inches away. And now you have protection. Power. Everything your little catering business could never give you. The word stung because part of her knew how close she'd come to losing everything. Last month she'd almost defaulted on the lease for her mother's old storefront. But selling her freedom? Never. I hate you, she spat, voice cracking just a little. Min-ho's expression didn't soften. Good. Hate keeps you alive in my world. Yet his hand lifted, almost gently, brushing a stray curl from her face. She slapped it away. Don't touch me. For a split second something flickered in his eyes. Regret? Desire? It was gone before she could name it. You'll learn to tolerate me. Tonight we attend the family dinner downstairs. My mother expects perfection. Play the part, or the deal breaks and your father pays with more than money. Aaliyah's stomach dropped. Her dad was reckless, but he was still her dad. You're threatening me already? I'm stating facts. He turned toward the walk-in closet, pulling out a sleek black gown that looked like it cost more than her car. Change. We leave in 20 minutes. She snatched the dress from his hand, clutching it to her chest like armor. I'm not your doll. No, he said quietly, you're my wife. There's a difference. And wives in my family survive by being smart, not stubborn. As she stormed into the bathroom and slammed the door, her mind raced. How had her father hidden this? How deep did this syndicate go? She'd heard whispers, Korean families controlling parts of Chicago's underground gambling, imports, even some nightlife, but she'd never imagined her own blood would sell her into it. When she emerged 15 minutes later, the gown hugging her curves in ways that made her feel both powerful and exposed, Min-ho's eyes darkened. You look acceptable. High praise, she muttered, adjusting the thin gold necklace he'd left on the vanity, probably worth a fortune. He offered his arm. She ignored it and walked ahead. The elevator ride down was silent tension. Every floor ding felt like a countdown. When the doors opened into a private dining room filled with sharp-suited men and elegant women speaking in low Korean, all eyes turned to her. Min-ho's mother, a regal woman in her 50s with perfectly pinned hair, rose slowly. So this is the American bride. Black. Bold choice, son. Aaliyah lifted her chin. Aaliyah Hayes. Nice to meet you too. A few gasps. Min-ho's grip on her elbow tightened in warning, but she pulled free. I didn't choose this marriage, but I won't be disrespected in it. Min-ho stepped forward, voice ice. She is my wife. Anyone who has a problem answers to me. His mother's lips thinned, but she sat. The dinner began with courses Aaliyah barely tasted, kimchi, perfectly seared beef, things she would have loved under different circumstances. Conversation flowed around her in a mix of English and Korean, but every so often someone would glance her way with thinly veiled curiosity or disdain. Halfway through, a younger man, Min-ho's cousin, she guessed, leaned in. So, Aaliyah, what exactly do you bring to this family besides color? The table quieted. Before Min-ho could speak, Aaliyah smiled sweetly. I bring the ability to spot bullshit from a mile away. And the backbone to call it out. You might want to try it sometime. Min-ho's hand found her knee under the table, squeezing, not painfully, but possessively. A warning and something else. Heat. She hated how her body noticed. The cousin laughed uncomfortably. Feisty. She'll need it. Later, back in the penthouse, the door barely closed before Aaliyah rounded on him. Your family hates me on sight. They don't know you yet. Min-ho loosened his tie, rolling up his sleeves to reveal toned forearms marked with faint scars. And they will learn. Why me? She demanded, kicking off her heels. There are 1,000 women who would kill for this life. He poured 2 glasses of whiskey, offering her one. She took it but didn't drink. Because your father's debt gave me leverage, and your fire intrigues me. Most women tremble. You fight. Flattery won't make me forgive this. I don't need forgiveness. He stepped closer, voice dropping. I need loyalty. In my world, enemies wait for weakness. A wife who hates me in public but stands beside me is stronger than one who pretends love. Aaliyah's pulse raced. And what if I never stop hating you? Then we'll have a very interesting marriage. His fingers brushed her wrist, tracing the vein there. She yanked away, but not before a spark shot up her arm. Touch me again without permission and I'll make you regret this arrangement more than I already do. Min-ho's eyes gleamed with challenge. Permission? You're my wife. But I'm not a monster. I won't force what you won't give, yet. The yet hung between them like smoke. That night she slept on the massive couch in the living area, refusing the king bed. Min-ho didn't argue. But at 3 a.m. she woke to the sound of his voice in the next room, low, angry Korean on a phone call. Something about a shipment, a rival family called the Vipers, and the girl must stay hidden. She crept closer to the cracked door. If they find out she's more than collateral, they'll come for her. Keep the watch on her family. No one touches what's mine. Aaliyah's blood ran cold. More than collateral? What hadn't her father told her? She backed away, heart pounding. When Min-ho emerged minutes later, she pretended to be asleep. He stood over her for a long moment, then draped a blanket gently over her shoulders before retreating to the bedroom. The next morning, tension crackled again. Aaliyah woke to the smell of coffee. Min-ho was already dressed in a crisp black shirt, scrolling through his phone at the breakfast bar. "Sleep well?" he asked without looking up. Like a prisoner, she shot back, wrapping the blanket tighter. He finally met her eyes. "Prisoners don't get Egyptian cotton and personal chefs. Eat. We have a meeting." "With who?" "My lawyer. The marriage needs to look real on paper. Joint accounts, your name on properties. Protection." She crossed her arms. "And if I refuse to sign anything else? Then your father's debt reactivates. Interest compounds daily. He loses the house. Your mother's business. Everything." Aaliyah's jaw clenched. She hated being cornered. But she sat, took the coffee he slid toward her, black, exactly how she liked it, though she hadn't told him, and glared. "You've done your research. I don't enter deals blind." Over breakfast the push-pull began in earnest. Every time she challenged him, he countered with calm logic wrapped in steel. Every time he softened, just a fraction, offering her control over her old business, she pushed harder, testing boundaries. "You can keep running the catering company," he said suddenly. "Under new management. My men will handle security." "Why would you allow that?" "Because a bored wife is a dangerous wife. And I want you occupied, not plotting escape." She almost smiled despite herself. "Smart. But don't think this makes us friends." "Friends?" He leaned back, studying her. "I don't want friends, Aaliyah. I want a partner who can stand in a room full of killers and not flinch." The word sent an unwelcome thrill through her. Power. He was offering her power in his dark world. Later at the lawyer's sleek downtown office, the documents were spread out. Aaliyah read every line, pen hovering. Min-ho watched her, silent. "This says I can't leave the city without your approval," she pointed out. "Temporary. Until threats are neutralized." "What threats?" "The ones you won't explain." He sighed, the first crack in his armor. "The Vipers have been moving in on our territory. They know about the marriage. They see you as a weakness to exploit. If you run, they'll grab you to get to me." Her hand shook slightly. "So I'm bait?" "You're leverage. But I protect my leverage." His voice lowered. "And maybe, more." She signed. Not because she wanted to, but because the alternative was watching her family suffer. Back in the car, the silence was heavier. Finally she asked, "Why did you choose me specifically?" "My father could have offered money, connections. Why tie yourself to a black woman from the South Side?" Min-ho stared out the window at passing traffic. "Because when I saw your photo in the file, you weren't smiling like the others. You looked like someone who would burn the world down before bending. My world needs fire, not fragility." The confession hung there. Aaliyah didn't know how to respond, so she didn't. But something shifted, just a millimeter, in the wall between them. That evening, the first Real crack appeared. While Min-ho was in his home office on another tense call, Aaliyah's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered in the hallway. "Aaliyah? It's your father. Listen, baby, I'm sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. But Min-ho, he's not what he seems. He's using you too." The line went dead. Static. Then Min-ho's voice behind her. "Who was that?" She turned, phone still in hand. "My dad. He said you're using me." Min-ho's face hardened. "He's desperate. He'd say anything to get out of the hole he dug." "But is it true?" She stepped closer, anger and fear mixing. "Am I just a tool?" He grabbed her wrist, not roughly, but firmly, pulling her against his chest. You're mine. Tool, wife, partner, call it what you want. But no one else gets to have you. Not even your father's lies. Their faces were inches apart. She could feel his heartbeat, fast like hers. Let go. Make me. For a heartbeat she considered slapping him. Instead, she rose on her toes and crushed her mouth to his in a kiss that was all fury and confusion. He froze, then kissed her back, deep, demanding, like he'd been starving for it. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Min-ho growled, "You can hate me tomorrow. Tonight you feel this." Aaliyah wiped her lips, eyes blazing. This changes nothing. But it did. The tension between them thickened, electric. The next few days escalated. Aaliyah insisted on visiting her old catering kitchen to check on staff. Min-ho allowed it, with 2 discreet bodyguards. At the shop, old clients greeted her warmly, but one regular, a slick businessman she'd always distrusted, cornered her in the back. "Heard you married up, Aaliyah. Kang family, huh? Dangerous crowd. If you ever need an exit." Before she could respond, one of Min-ho's men appeared, hand on the intruder's shoulder. Time to leave. That night she confronted Min-ho again. "Your watchdogs almost started a fight in my own business. They protected you. The man works for the Vipers. He was testing." Her anger faltered. "How do you know?" "I know everything about threats to my wife." The power imbalance hit her again. He controlled information, movement, safety. Yet when he handed her a new phone with encrypted lines and said, "Call your mother. Tell her you're safe." But nothing more, she saw the smallest concession. Trust, however limited. Their arguments became a dance. She pushed, he pulled. She challenged his cold decisions. He revealed fragments of his past, how he'd taken over the syndicate after his father's assassination, how trust was a luxury he couldn't afford, how her fire reminded him of the mother he'd lost young. One night, after a brutal argument about her wanting to attend a client event alone, Min-ho cornered her in the bedroom they still didn't share. "You think I enjoy controlling you?" he said, voice raw. "Every time you walk out that door, I calculate risks. If something happens to you, I lose more than a wife. I lose the only person who looks at me and doesn't see just the boss." Aaliyah's chest tightened. "Then stop treating me like property and start treating me like a partner." He laughed bitterly. "Partners get hurt. I've buried partners." The vulnerability cracked something in her. She reached up, touching the scar on his jaw. "Then teach me how to survive beside you. Not behind you." Their eyes locked. The push became pull. He leaned in slowly this time, giving her the chance to pull away. She didn't. The kiss was slower, deeper, filled with questions neither voiced. But just as heat built, his phone rang. He answered, face turning to stone. "What? When?" A pause. "Keep her here. Double the guards." He hung up, eyes meeting hers. "The Vipers know your real name. They send a message, your mother's shop is being watched. One wrong move and they burn it with her inside." Aaliyah's world tilted. "No." Min-ho pulled her close, arms like steel. "You can hate me for bringing you into this. But right now, you stay with me. We fight them together." She nodded against his chest, fear and fury and that unwanted pull twisting inside her. "Together. But if you lie to me again, Min-ho, I swear I'll walk into their arms just to watch you burn." He tilted her chin up. "Then we both burn, Jagiya. Because I'm not letting you go." "What do you think is coming next? Is Aaliyah going to trust him enough to fight beside him, or will she find her own way to protect her family, even if it means betraying the man who claims her?" Drop your predictions in the comments. I'm reading them all. The following week brought more escalation. Aaliyah demanded to see her mother under heavy guard. Min-ho agreed but stayed glued to her side. At the modest South Side house, her mother hugged her tight, whispering, "Baby, your father is scared. He says this man is dangerous. He is, Aaliyah admitted quietly while Min-ho waited in the car. But so am I. Later, back at the penthouse, another twist hit. Min-ho's cousin, the one from dinner, arrived unannounced with documents. The elders want proof the marriage is consummated. Otherwise they vote to dissolve it and reclaim the debt. Aaliyah's stomach dropped. Consummated? Like some medieval contract? Min-ho's jaw flexed. It's tradition. Bloodlines. Control. She laughed without humor. So now I have to sleep with you to keep my family safe. Nice. He dismissed his cousin with a sharp word, then turned to her. I won't force it. We'll fake the proof if we have to. But the elders aren't stupid. The power imbalance pressed heavier. Yet that night, when thunder rattled the windows and Aaliyah couldn't sleep, she found herself walking into his bedroom for the first time. He was awake, shirtless, staring at city lights. Can't sleep either? Too many lies, she said, sitting on the edge of the bed. Too many threats. He didn't move closer. Tell me what you need. Truth. Why did my father really owe you? What did he do? Min-ho exhaled. He borrowed to cover gambling losses, then tried to pay with information about rival routes. When it backfired, he offered the only thing he had left of value. You. I accepted because I saw potential in the alliance. And in you. The honesty stung and soothed at once. Potential for what? A queen who isn't afraid of the throne. Silence stretched. Then she asked softly, do you ever get tired of the game? Every day. He finally looked at her. But stopping means death. For me. For everyone I protect. She moved closer. Their hands brushed. The tension that had been building for days sparked hotter. Then show me how to play it without losing myself. He cupped her face, thumb tracing her cheek. I'm not good at gentle, Aaliyah. But for you. I'll try. Their kiss that night was a storm, years of her struggle, his isolation, colliding. Clothes stayed on, but boundaries blurred. When they pulled apart, breathless, he whispered against her lips, you can still hate me in the morning. She smiled faintly. Maybe I will. Or maybe I'll hate how much I don't. But peace never lasted. The next morning, while Aaliyah reviewed new contracts for her business, now under Kang protection, a courier delivered a small box. Inside, a single photo of her mother leaving the house, with red ink across it, she's next unless the black wife disappears. Min-ho found her staring at it, hands shaking. He took the photo, eyes turning lethal. They just signed their own death warrant. Aaliyah stood, voice steel. No more hiding me. No more half-truths. If I'm yours, then I fight too. Teach me the rules. Arm me with knowledge. He studied her for a long moment, pride and worry warring in his gaze. You're going to be the death of me, Aaliyah Hayes. Good, she said. Because I refuse to be the death of my family. As they began planning their counter-move, late-night strategy sessions filled with sharp dialogue, heated disagreements, and moments where anger melted into charged closeness, the unanswered question loomed larger. Could a woman who built her life on independence ever truly belong to a man whose world demanded total loyalty? And what secret was Min-ho still hiding about why he'd truly chosen her? Their bond deepened through conflict. One evening, after a near-miss drive-by scare outside the penthouse, Min-ho pulled her into his arms in the elevator, holding her tighter than necessary. You're shaking, he murmured. I'm angry, she corrected, but leaned into him anyway. Angry that I'm starting to need you here. His laugh was rough. Welcome to my hell. I've needed you since the day you glared at me in that dress. The push-pull continued, fierce arguments about trust, tender admissions in the dark, nights where they shared the bed but not yet everything, each refusing to fully surrender. Then came the biggest twist yet. During a tense family meeting at a secure warehouse, Min-ho's mother pulled Aaliyah aside while the men talked business. You think you're special? My son married you to cover a mistake. He was supposed to marry a Viper daughter for peace. Instead he chose you to spite them, and to hide the fact that he already has a child with her. A son. Hidden away. Aaliyah's world fractured. She confronted Min-ho in the car on the way home, voice trembling with betrayal. A child? You have a son with the enemy and you didn't tell me? His face paled, the first time she'd seen real fear in his eyes. It was before you. A mistake. The boy is safe, but if the Vipers learn I'm raising him, they'll use him against me. Against us. You lied by omission. Again. Tears burned, but she refused to let them fall. I'm supposed to be your wife, your partner. How can I be when you keep pieces hidden? Min-ho reached for her hand, she pulled away. I was protecting you. Protecting him. By making me the fool? Her voice rose. I'm done being the last to know. Tell me everything, right now, or I walk out that door and let the Vipers take their shot. He gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. His name is Ji-hoon. He's 4. His mother died trying to leave the Vipers. I took him. The arranged marriage with you, it was meant to look like I was moving on, building a new alliance so they wouldn't suspect I had their blood in my house. The revelation hung heavy. Aaliyah's heart ached, for the child, for the woman who died, for the man beside her who carried too much alone. But trust was shattered. I need time, she whispered as they reached the penthouse. And space. He nodded once, voice hoarse. Take the bedroom. I'll stay on the couch. But Aaliyah, don't run. Not tonight. They're watching closer than ever. She walked away without answering, mind spinning with new questions. Could she forgive the lie? Could she accept a ready-made family in the middle of a war? And what would happen when the Vipers finally struck? Because they would. As she lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, the door creaked open. Min-ho stood there, silhouetted, voice barely above a whisper. I know you hate me right now. But you're still mine. And I'm yours, every broken piece. Tomorrow we decide how to fight for the boy. Together. If you'll still have me. She didn't reply. The silence stretched, thick with everything unsaid. But just as he turned to leave, her phone lit up on the nightstand with a new message from an unknown number. We have your father. Deliver the Korean or watch him bleed. You have 24 hours. And tell your husband his secret son is next. Aaliyah sat up sharply, heart slamming. Min-ho froze in the doorway, reading the screen over her shoulder. Their eyes met, fear, fury, and that unbreakable, terrifying pull colliding once more. To be continued. If your heart is pounding and you need to know what Aaliyah chooses, whether she stands with Min-ho despite the lies, how they rescue her father, and what happens when the secret son enters the picture, hit subscribe right now so you don't miss part 2. Drop a comment with the exact time you're watching and one word that describes how you feel right now. Betrayed? Hopeful? Team Aaliyah? Team Min-ho? I can't wait to read them. This story is just heating up, and the next chapter is going to test every limit of love, loyalty, and survival. See you in part 2.